Come on.
I genuinely feel like I've been in a car accident.
But we didn't just come here to warm up. We need a move, a quick surprise attack, one that came directly from the battlefield to the dojo. That move is a choke called Okiri Irijimi, and it's a killer. Literally.
I see a lot of veins in his head. Let's try that, Bill.
Getting dominant position is critical to securing the choke. Once you're positioned behind your opponent, you roll forward using your momentum multiplied by the leverage of your leg to bring him to his back. Then, you wrap your legs around his body, forcing his arm upwards while your hand pulls his gi across his neck.
You use the strength of your legs to maintain your dominant position while you secure the choke. Just a few pounds of pressure on the collar of his gi is enough to reduce the blood flow to the brain to a trickle and end the match. Hold this move for 10 seconds and the fighter will black out. Hold it just a bit longer and he's dead.
Chokes like these are as devastating on the mat as they were on the battlefield, and are a common weapon in the MMA arsenal.
This stuff is great. I love grappling. Gi, no gi, whatever. I can't wait for the fight. This is getting good.
But now, we're headed to the ancient capital of Japan to learn some samurai bone-breaking techniques that are still in use on the street. To learn another move that will help us in our fight against a judo champion, we hopped on one of the fastest rides on the planet. The high-speed Shinkansen bullet train. It's been clocked at test speeds in excess of 275 miles an hour. Today, our destination is Japan's former imperial capital, Kyoto.
Surrounded on three sides by steep mountains, the easily defensible city became the seat of Japan's imperial court in 794. Kyoto remained the capital for over 1,000 years, during which it saw many bloody samurai battles for control of Japan. Then, during the Meiji Restoration, the capital was moved to Tokyo. Today, the streets of Kyoto are some of the safest in the world, and they're kept that way by the Kyoto police and their training in the fighting art of Judo.
Inside the main dojo, we met Kyoto PD's head instructor, Murakami Sensei. Our translator was Robert Moran. Because there are virtually no guns in Japan, the police don't need to use guns themselves. Instead, they're able to use judo techniques to bring in the bad guys. In fact, the police were some of the first to popularize judo in Japan.
In 1886, the Tokyo Police Department hosted a contest between Jigoro Kano's judo and the city's most famous jiu-jitsu school to determine which style would be taught to the police. Judo crushed jiu-jitsu, winning 12 of 15 matches with one draw. Judo was chosen as the official style of the police and was catapulted to national popularity. We got changed to start training, but quickly learned this aggressive style is just as tough on the mat as it is in the real world.
Can we see that one again?
Can you break the arm like that?
You sure can, yeah.
This isn't just used by Japanese police or in judo. The armbar is one of the most popular moves in MMA today.
To execute it, the judoka grabs his opponent by the elbow.
When you hold him, hold on the joint. Don't hold here. You can control your opponent by holding on the joint.
Then uses his legs and body weight to drive him to the ground.
Hold the ankle, and then roll him over.
With a thrust of his hips, his opponent's elbow is stretched to its breaking point.
Now, important to have the thumb pointing up. Right. And raise your hips. Raise your hips.
He's 70 kilos, I'm 125 kilos. It doesn't really matter when it comes down to an arm bar. It's all about your joint and whether you want your arm the way it's supposed to be for the rest of your life. So you got no choice but tap, 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 tap. I feel like I'm a tap dancer here.
There are lots of ways to get your opponent into position for the armbar.
Very crucial.
But the most dynamic is to grab both his wrists and fall backwards. Then use your weight and the force of gravity to pull your opponent to you, catching him with your legs and slamming him to the mat. Keeping his elbow isolated at your hips and his wrist at your chest.
By bending the elbow across the fulcrum of your hips, you're subjecting the weak joint to the leverage of two strong forces: the pull of your thighs on his shoulder and your hands on his wrists. As little as 1,000 pounds of force can be enough to destroy the elbow. The leverage of the armbar can supply much more than that.
Okay, there you go.
Next, we headed to Kyoto's Center of Traditional Martial Arts, the Budokudan. Established in 794 AD by Emperor Kanmu, the Budokudan was a training facility for his new legion of skilled warriors. Warriors who were to become the samurai.
Though samurai armor was often made of leather, silk, and brass instead of plate steel, the entire kit could still weigh as much as 60 pounds. Which is why Jiu-Jitsu had a technique designed specifically to use an attacker's own weight against him. It's called a sacrifice throw.
The head of the Kyoto Judo Association, Onishi Sensei, showed us a sacrifice throw still used in judo called Tomoe Nage. To execute the Tomoe Nage throw, a judoka uses his opponent's forward momentum and his own body weight.
Push him back, and then he's going to resist. And at that time, you drop down.
Falling backwards as your opponent charges pulls your opponent off balance. Then, you drive one leg into his midsection to guide his momentum, lifting his center of gravity up and over and hurling him to the mat.
You're using your legs only. Okay?
Oh, okay.
You have to pull forward.
And that's to help bring him off balance?
Exactly. Break his balance.
The sacrifice throw is a simple lesson in conservation of energy. The stronger the opponent attacks, the further he gets thrown. It works like a catapult, where your opponent's momentum supplies the counterweight. The faster he's going, the further he's going to fly, and the harder he's going to land.
Oh, getting better.
This throw would be impossible if the other guy wasn't almost charging you, because you have to use his force, his momentum, to throw him head over heels.
Is that better? Good? Good, very good.
Good job, Jason. But Onishi Sensei wasn't done with us just yet. There was a reason why there was a group of big judokas here, and the reason was to kick our butts. The official term for it is called randori.
Randori is the equivalent of sparring in boxing. It may not look as